What up, guys? Chris. Gonna try to knock out a quick video on last night's fights, boxing and MMA. Usually don't like to combine the two, but I'm kind of pressed for time because I got the Science Radio show coming up in about 90 minutes, or about an hour's, a little more over an hour's time. But yeah, first up, Timothy Bradley, Devon Alexander fight all boxing fans were looking forward to. Some MMA fans as well from feedback I was hearing online. Um, Honestly, I know the ending sucked, but in my opinion, the fight just never really got on track. I don't know if it was because of the crowd. You know, obviously we knew the story going into the fight was there wasn't going to be a big crowd necessarily, but even the crowd that was there, they just seemed really unenthusiastic. You never really got fired up. It just seemed dead in there, for lack of a better term. And the styles, I didn't mention it in my predicting video, but I did mention it in the comment section on my video, on that video, and other people's videos. It was a good fight on paper, but I was kind of worried that the stylistically might not make for the most interesting fight or the most entertaining. And it kind of played out that way. Never got a lot of sustained action, not really any moments that were really exciting. And of course, unfortunately, there were the headbutts. A lot of people were expecting them from Timothy Bradley, and unfortunately, it came to happen. Not to say if he's the blame for all of the headbutts. They were intentional, it appeared from what I saw, but just unfortunate, But I will say this: Timothy Bradley was winning the fight. I think at the time of the stoppage, I do believe if it finished out the final 2.5 rounds or so, he probably would have won a decision. I didn't really see much from Devon Alexander. That made me think he was going to turn the tide and be able to pull away or stop. He probably would need to stoppage at that point in the fight in the 10th. I didn't see that happen. I just thought Devon Alexander never really sat down on his punches. His jab didn't really offer much either. It was a weak jab. It was more of a range finder, kind of just flicking it out there to keep it at bay rather than using it to really rack up points with or really land effectively. I thought at a distance, Alexander got the better of it, or should have got the better of it with the hand speed and stuff. But Timothy Bradley made it more of his fight as usual. Just kind of did what Timothy Bradley does, pushed the pace, got inside through a lot of body shots and combinations when he did get inside. Landed a few flush shots, Caught Alexander flush a few times. Never really hurt Alexander because Bradley, as we know, doesn't have the most power, but did land a few impressive punches there. But yeah, like I said, disappointing ending. I don't really know. I know a lot of people are questioning Devon Alexander whether he quit or not. Kind of a reminiscent of Robert Guerrero's fight against Dawood Yordan, which I believe was a year or two ago now at this point. Kind of reminded me of that, and people were questioning whether or not Robert the Ghost Guerrero, would quit in that fight. Hard to say, but either way, I think Bradley's going to win this fight. Do I want to see a rematch? No, I don't really want to see a rematch, only because I wasn't really all excited about this fight, and I don't see a rematch going much differently. So whether or not we get one, I really don't have much interest one way or the other. But yeah, what's next for each guy? Who knows? Alexander lost and looked that good, so Andre Burrow will probably call him out. Plus, he's a division lower. As for Bradley, hopefully he can get a Khan or Maidana next. I think either of those would be great fights. Anyways, that's it for now, though. Just want to hear you guys' thoughts on that fight. Boxing fans, of course. Moving on, though, real quick. Strikeforce event. Watched last night as well. MMA. Really good event. Not the most competitive fights, at least the first couple, but Strikeforce's last couple of fights are events, actually, for the majority of their events. Not always the best matchmaking, most competitive, but really exciting, entertaining events. This was no different. First fight of the night, Roger Gracie. Roger Gracie got a quick tap-out win over Trevor Prangley. I picked Prangley, but can't be surprised when Gracie gets guy to the ground that he's going to win by submission. Herschel Walker, Scott Carlson. Not much to say about this fight. Win as expected. Herschel looked good for his age against a guy that's not really all that competitive at this stage of his career. But yeah, stoppage was a bit weak in my opinion, but either way, Herschel had this fight. So, Herschel looks like he likes doing this. So I won't be surprised if we see him in there. Hopefully before a year again, though. Hopefully we'll get him in there 6 months or so, or 4 months, not another year like it was last time since his last fight. Middleweight champion Ronaldo Jacare Souza successfully defends his title against ruthless Robbie Lawler. Talked about how the strength and weaknesses lied in, Jacare's strength, kind of worked against Robbie Lawler's weaknesses, and vice versa. And we got glimpses of both. Jacare was doing good on the ground in the first round. Robbie was able to get back to his feet and was able to show that power. It hurt Jacare, had him in trouble, but unfortunately, he decided to fall him to the ground. Not the best idea. Granted, Jacare didn't submit him in the first round, but if Robbie would have kept the fight on the feet, as hurt as it appeared Jacare was, he probably would have been able to finish him. But Robbie went to the ground, looked for a ground and pound stoppage, wasn't able to do it. Second and third rounds, Jacare completely controlled on the mat with his grappling skills and his position control. Really fluid, man. Jacare is just a real he's a joy to watch, I guess you could say, for once again, lack of a better term. But man, the guy's got some serious slick ground submission. Not even just submissions, but transitions and everything. I mean, just really controlled Robbie Lawler on the ground until finally catching him and submitting him with the rear naked choke late in the third round. So good win for Souza. Showed he could handle adversity. Showed his chin could take a hard punch from a huge puncher in Robbie Lawler, and he'll move on. I don't know what's next for Jacare, but look forward to watching him fight and watching his career progress. Even though he's a title holder at Strikeforce, he still is relatively young in his career. Not a whole lot of fights just yet. Main event of the night, welterweight champion Nick Diaz successfully defends his title against Evangelista Cyborg Santos. Man, despite went exactly as I expected it to for the most part. I expected an exciting bout. I thought it would be competitive, even though I didn't think Cyborg had a chance to win. And if you look at my prediction video, and something I mentioned, I thought the biggest problem for Nick Diaz would be leg kicks, defending them, or lack thereof, because he doesn't. And that proved to be the case. Cyborg had a great game plan going with those leg kicks. I mean, I don't know how Nick was able to stand, because Cyborg is a good Muay Thai practitioner, and he was using those Muay Thai kicks effectively. I mean, he landed almost everyone he threw to great effect, as you saw Nick Diaz's leg going out from under him. Somewhat reminiscent of Melvin Manoff, Robbie Lawler from last year. But, I said on Twitter afterwards, Nick Diaz may not be the best fighter in MMA, but he is by far the toughest, baddest cat out there, and I think this fight showed it. His leg had to be hurting, but he never really showed too many signs of it, and he kept pressing forward. He even threw some kicks of his own in the second and first round. But just an exciting bout. Nick Diaz never going to back up or back down from an opponent. Kept coming forward. Got some good punching exchanges on the feet as well. Some good, both guys trying to throw elbows from standing position, something you don't see often. Cyborg was getting pretty good, getting the better of it at times, but unfortunately Cyborg's biggest issue in his game, being his cardio, came back to bother him again. It looked like he was getting tired late in the first, even though he was controlling the majority of the fight. And in the second round, it looked like he was getting tired as well, which I think is why he probably went for the takedown. I don't know. Nick was coming forward, landing his punches. Either Evangelista needed a rest, and that's why he took Nick down late in the second, or he was getting hurt. Either way, worked against him. Obviously, Nick, once the fight got to the ground, man, Nick, it's funny because Cyborg, he's no, blue belt or yellow belt on the ground. He's got some credentials there. He's got some skills there, but not against Nick Diaz, man. Nick Diaz just made short work of him once he got on the ground, and ended up getting him with an armbar, tapping him out. And he looked like he really put some pressure on that armbar too, man. Cyborg looked like he was hurting when he tapped. So, good win for Nick Diaz. Another exciting fight for Nick Diaz. Starting talking shit, starting up with someone afterwards. I don't know if it was Christian Cyborg or who it was. Someone threw a cup at him, and he was saying, F-U-B, to someone in the crowd. But either way, Nick Diaz, once again, another good performance, or another solid performance, another exciting fight. And, guy's my favorite fighter in MMA. I've said it before, said it again. And I can't wait to see his next fight. Hopefully it'll be against Paul Daly, because I think that'll be a hell of a fight and a real threat to Nick Diaz. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. Once again, I'll be talking about all these events, as well as previewing UFC 126 Silva versus Belfort on Science Finance Radio Show. That'll be coming on in less than an hour at the time I'm posting this. But if you see this later, you can go back and check it out on podcast. If you can't catch it live, feel free to call in and give your thoughts. The number is 347-637-3025. I'll put a link to the show in the information part of it as usual, as well as a link to my Twitter. UFC 126 predictions video coming up later this week as well. And that's it for now, guys. Till then, or till next time, I'm out.